Today's story is about a dangerous killer who, after losing his daughter, gave up his old life and started living quietly, and he tried to move on. But one day, he sees a group of boys trying to take advantage of a teenage girl. And seeing this, he loses his temper because the girl reminds him of his daughter, and the killer decides to protect her and starts taking out the boys one by one. And he does not know that one of them is the son of a powerful drug dealer. And the real trouble begins when the dealer finds out that his beloved son has been killed. The movie starts by introducing Clean, a man who works every night collecting garbage, and he drives his truck across the streets picking up trash, and if he finds anything useful, he keeps it so others can use it. And this is Clean's nightly routine, and after finishing, he drops the truck back at his dealer's place and heads home. One day before heading home, Clean stops at a place where cars are crushed, and there he feeds a stray dog, a routine he does every day. And this shows that despite his dark past, Clean has a good heart. And later he attends a therapy session where people with trauma share their experiences to heal. And Clean's past is very different from everyone else's because it involves blood violence and drugs. Things ordinary people cannot even imagine. And why he wants to forget this past becomes clear as the story progresses. After the session, Clean returns home, quickly cooks a meal, and packs it in a tiffin for Diana, a teenage neighbor, and Diana and her grandmother are close to Clean. And he treats Diana like his own daughter, and today he brings lunch for her, and she appreciates his care. And Diana gives Clean a band she had made for her parents before they died, as she could not give it to them, and Clean happily accepts the gift, and soon Diana's school bus arrives, and Clean tells her to go catch it. After sending Diana off, Clean goes to a pawn shop and he sells the useful items he collected from the garbage, earning $45 that day, and he then buys paint from a woman, returns home, and repaints his house. But that night, he has a terrifying nightmare because he sees his deceased daughter in his arms, and this reminds him of the guilt he carries because he blames himself for her death, and he cries while holding her photo, unable to forget. Meanwhile, we see Michael waiting outside a jail for his son Mike to be released, and when Mike comes out, he joins his friends instead of going to his father, and they smoke together and drive off, ignoring Michael, who feels frustrated but says nothing. Before starting his shift, Clean goes to his dealer, who sends him to a new route for garbage collection, and while working, Clean notices Michael and his men loading something into a truck, and Michael stares at Clean oddly, but Clean pays no attention and continues his work, and unbeknownst to Clean, Michael is a major drug dealer who smuggles drugs hidden in fish from China and sells them at high prices in his town. And today, though only 12 drug packets arrive, instead of the 17 he ordered, and Michael is furious but unable to do anything. And that is when the real story begins, because Clean is about to step into a dangerous world, one that will test his strength, morals, and the memories of his lost daughter. That night, Clean has another nightmare about his daughter. As usual, he cries holding her photo, haunted by her death. The next morning, when he goes to take Diana to school, he notices she is walking instead of taking the bus. Surprised, he asks why, and Diana explains that the school bus no longer comes down their street. Clean quickly offers her a ride and drops her at school. After returning home, Clean uses some of the scrap materials he's collected to build a bicycle for Diana, making sure she won't be late for school again. The next day, while placing the bicycle outside Diana's house, her grandmother sees him and asks why he does so much for Diana even though he isn't her father. Clean quietly replies that he's trying to make up for his sins and leaves. Diana's grandmother compliments him, but Clean refuses to accept it, as he still sees himself as a flawed man. Meanwhile, Michael, the drug dealer, sells the imported drugs from China and earns a good profit. But his next delivery goes wrong. The fish carrying the drugs have gone bad, and several drug packets are missing. Michael initially tries to handle the situation calmly, negotiating with the suppliers. But when that fails, he loses control and brutally attacks one of them with a hammer, killing him. Mike, his son, witnesses this and begins to quietly resent his father. As Michael leaves, he orders Mike to dispose of the body. That night, Clean arrives at the area to collect garbage and sees a lot of blood on the ground. He doesn't want trouble, so he ignores it and continues his work. Michael appears and tries to bribe Clean to keep quiet, but Clean refuses the money and drives off with his garbage truck. Later, while heading home after his shift, Clean's car breaks down. While checking the engine, he notices a group of thugs chasing a man into an alley. Clean watches from a distance, but doesn't intervene. Suddenly, someone strikes him on the head with an iron rod, knocking him unconscious. When Clean wakes up, he finds himself in a hospital. His head is heavily stitched from the attack. During a flashback, we see that Clean's daughter once caught him taking drugs. When he realized this, he hid his stash to keep her from knowing. Back in the present, the doctor tells Clean that it's a miracle he survived because his head had been badly injured before, and this new blow could have killed him. The doctor offers painkillers, but Clean refuses and goes home. On the way, he finds Diana still sitting outside her house because her grandmother is out and has the keys. Clean brings her home for dinner, and they eat together. While exploring Clean's house afterward, Diana finds a locked box. As she tries to open it, Clean stops her, causing her to panic and run away. Meanwhile, Michael is at home watching ice hockey while having dinner. He tries to call Mike, but Mike is too absorbed in his phone to respond. Michael grows angry, and when he confronts him, Mike insults him and leaves. The next scene shows Clean passing by Diana's house when he notices a group of troublemakers harassing her. This is when Clean realizes that his protective instincts are about to kick in, setting the stage for the dangerous events to come. Clean notices Diana standing with some boys who look very dangerous. He quickly tells her to go home, but Diana responds, "You're not my dad." At the same time, one of the boys starts shouting at Clean. Seeing this, Diana runs away, and Clean leaves quietly too. Later, while returning some items to a shopkeeper, Clean spots some knives that remind him of his old life when he used to carry guns and think of himself as a gangster. As usual, Clean goes to the recovery center, where he meets a man who used to work with many gangs but has now distanced himself from all of them. After the session, the man approaches Clean and says he's seen him somewhere before. Clean doesn't respond much and drives off. On his way home, he sees Diana's bike outside a building, the same boys' building he noticed earlier. Inside, those boys had given Diana drugs, causing her to lose consciousness. They try to harm her, but Clean arrives just in time. Using his skills, he fights and takes down all the boys one by one. Unbeknownst to him, one of the boys he beats is Mike, Michael's son. Clean rescues Diana and brings her to her grandmother, who was waiting nearby. Soon, Michael learns about his son's beating. He calls his family doctor to tend to Mike, but the doctor warns that Mike's injuries are severe and could leave him unable to speak. Michael refuses to take Mike to a better doctor, wanting him to suffer instead. Later, a police officer named Frank shows Michael a video of Clean attacking Mike and Michael's men. The boys had been recording their crimes, but the footage unintentionally captured Clean. Michael immediately recognizes Clean as the garbage collector who had been in the area. Frank also informs him about Diana and her grandmother. Michael orders Frank to kill them both, but to bring Clean alive so he can do it himself. Meanwhile, Clean learns that Diana and her grandmother are in danger. He takes them to a safe location, but a police car begins following them. Observing the officer on the phone, Clean realizes he is Michael's man. He drives strategically and loses the tail, parking his car behind a house to escape. He tells Diana and her grandmother they need a faster car, so they head to a nearby bar. While Diana and her grandmother use the restroom, Clean cleverly unlocks another car and positions it behind the cafe. When they come out, they see Michael's men, and both women hide in the storage room. Clean follows with a tool in hand. Inside, he fights Michael's men, using his combat skills to take them down one by one and safely rescues Diana and her grandmother. The story then flashes back to Clean's past. One day, after returning home from a fight, he opens his drawer to find the drug injection missing. Panic sets in as he rushes to his daughter and discovers she had taken the injection herself, overdosing and dying. This tragic event shattered Clean, and since then, he has blamed himself entirely for her death. The story comes back to the present, where Clean has brought Diana and her grandmother to a safe place. After leaving them there, he plans to return home, but he knows he can't keep running forever because Michael's men will eventually catch him. So Clean goes back to his house. Once home, he opens a box full of money he had saved. He takes the money to the pawn shop he often visits and asks for a gun. The shopkeeper is surprised but shows him a shotgun, which Clean likes a lot. Clean takes the gun to his secret hideout, hidden among old, abandoned cars, and modifies it to make it even deadlier. Meanwhile, Frank informs Michael that the person they crossed isn't just some garbage collector, but a dangerous gangster from the past. Michael is shocked. Soon, Clean calls Michael and tells him he's coming to his house to kill him. This terrifies Michael, who immediately calls extra men to guard his home. But Clean is prepared. He takes his garbage truck, breaks through the wall of Michael's house, and enters. The explosion cuts off all the lights, leaving Michael's men completely unprepared. Clean, highly trained in combat, fights each one, using his gun and skills. One bullet grazes Clean's shoulder, but he keeps fighting without hesitation. Moving through the house, he reaches the upper floor and encounters Frank. Clean fires a flare gun directly at him, and Frank dies instantly from the attack. Michael tries to shoot Clean, but Clean rolls to the ground to save himself. Michael continues firing in the dark, but when his bullets run out, Clean sees an opening and attacks. By now, Clean is exhausted and weak, and Michael gains the upper hand, beating him badly. Just when Clean starts losing hope, he imagines seeing his daughter. This vision gives him strength, and he rises, attacking Michael with renewed courage. At that moment, Mike, Michael's son, enters the room. Michael laughs, thinking Mike will save him or fight Clean. but instead, Mike shoots his own father, finally ending the man who had ruined his life. Then, since Mike's gun runs out of bullets, he doesn't attack Clean and simply lets him be. Clean also spares Mike because he understands the pain he has gone through. The story then moves to a peaceful scene. Diana rides a bicycle Clean had built for her from scrap. It shows that Diana and her grandmother are finally safe. This marks the end of the movie, with Clean having avenged the wrongs, protected the innocent, and found a sense of justice after his tragic past.